This conference will now be recorded.
Well, welcome everybody to the Art of Healthy Living webinar series presented by Healthy St. Lucie and brought to you by Primary Care Associates and Humana. We're so excited to have you here today. My name is Jennifer Harris. I'm the Director for Health Promotion here at the Health Department in St. Lucie County. I'll be the moderator for the Habits of Healthy or Happy People, not Healthy People. I had that wrong on the webinar and I apologize for that, but I think you're really going to enjoy this topic today of talking about the benefits of being happy in terms of wellness and decisions that we make in terms of wellness. So I will be recording the call today and it'll be available for anyone that's missed the call. So we're really excited about that. Before we get started, I did put some information in the chat box that if you're attending today on behalf of your company's wellness program and you need to get credit for your attendance today, be very helpful for us if you could put your name in the chat box as well as your organization so that we can make sure you get credit for your attendance today. So this is a series that we're doing this fall with Humana and Primary Care Associates, and we're so excited about the different topics that we're able to present to the community, and we'll go ahead and get started. So just a few words about Healthy St. Lucie. It's a coalition that started back in 2015 when we were working on our community health assessment and putting together a community health improvement plan. And basically, it's a coalition that gets together and it works on promoting health where we live, learn, work, and play. And what they did is they designed a community health improvement plan back in 2016. And it's looking at areas in the community where we have some gaps and we need to improve. And the focus areas, we pretty much aligned it to about 3 focus areas that we have for our plan right now. It's eating healthy, moving more, and feeling better. And within each of these categories, we have different groups that get together, like work groups, to work on how we can improve these areas. So for eating healthy, we're looking at breastfeeding initiation projects and also duration. So getting more moms to start breastfeeding in the hospital and continue breastfeeding at least 6 months or more. We also have healthy eating programs and promotional projects in schools, work sites, and out within the community. And we do have a breastfeeding work group that gets together almost monthly. COVID has definitely put a damper on the meetings, but we also have a food council that looks at where we have food deserts in our community and how we could mitigate that with some projects. So we also have a goal area called Moving More, where we're looking at getting adults in our community to move more, as well as students as well. So we have projects that go in the schools, work sites, and community. And one of our big community challenges is the Billion Steps Challenge. And that's an annual challenge that we have in the community, trying to get 1 billion steps together as a community. And we've done it each year. It looks like we're definitely going to go over our 1 billion steps this year by the end of December, which I'm so excited about. So it is a walking and movement challenge that we use a platform called Walker Tracker for. So you can sync your smartphone, your Fitbit, your Garmin, or you can actually manually enter steps too into Walker Tracker, and that's how we accumulate our steps as a community. It's really exciting. They also have 100 different activities on this platform that you can take the minutes from those activities, like Zumba, tennis, swimming, and have those minutes transferred into steps for our challenge as well. So this challenge offers anybody the ability to use any type of activity that they like to do to be involved in our community challenge. And we're really excited. We just had the fire district join, all their stations join. And they're working on doing recruiting and kicking off a big worksite wellness plan in January, but they're going to go ahead and start enrolling right now. So they'll have 3 teams at each station, and then they've also got some additional teams with admins. So we're really excited about that, and we're hoping to work with more work sites next year to help coordinate actual challenges, not just with the Billion Step Challenge, but actually work site challenges on site as well. So that's really exciting coming up. And then our last area is feeling better. So we're looking at the diabetes support group that we have, and we're actually growing this year with and starting to implement, and we're making plans right now for early next year to implement the National Diabetes Prevention Program in the community and getting more people that aren't aware that they are at risk for type 2 diabetes to recognize that risk and take part in a program to reduce that risk so that they can stay healthy and not have a chronic disease. So we're really excited about that. We also have our tobacco prevention and cessation program in the community where we're trying to prevent youth from starting tobacco products, and then for people that are currently using tobacco products, that we have free resources through Tobacco Free Florida for them to stop using tobacco. And then we're working on an age-friendly collaborative too, which is really looking at how can we as a community age in our homes and in place longer, and really how can we do that without having to spend as much money on our health care and stay healthy. So we're really excited about the partners that have been to the table with that, and hoping to see a lot more from that collaborative in the coming year. So that's just kind of it in a nutshell of what we've been working on, and we are putting together a new community health improvement plan now. We've got work towards the end of December. If you're interested in joining us in that effort, please send me an email. We would love to have you on board, but we'll have like 6 steering committee meetings this fall. We've got 2 more Healthy St. Lucie monthly meetings, and we'll be putting that draft plan together and finalized by the end of December. And obviously, this plan is not something we want to throw on the shelf. We want to constantly be looking at it and refreshing it as we move through. So we would love anybody interested in joining those efforts to join us. You can put your name in the chat box too and say, I'm interested, here's my email address. We would love to pull you on board on some of those meetings and ability to kind of guide that plan. So why are we focused on the habits of happy people? I keep saying healthy, Doreen. I don't know what's wrong with me. But you might be asking yourself, why focus on happiness? Emerging research is showing that happiness might not just make you feel better, but have long-term health benefits. So happy people tend to have healthier diets with a higher intake of fruits and vegetables, which is one of the things that we're working on too, is getting more people in our community to eat fruits and vegetables. Happy people also tend to be more physically active, which is one of the items we're working on in our community health improvement plan too. So obviously we all come from different backgrounds, and we all have different challenges and barriers in our present time and from our background that can impact happiness. So, when we think about the goal areas in our community health improvement plan right now and the potential benefits from increasing happiness, I think it deserves some attention and is one of the reasons why we wanted to bring this webinar to you. So we understand that with the different backgrounds, and that's certainly some things that we're starting to see in our community health assessment this year, that there are a lot of challenges and barriers for some people from experiencing a lot of happiness. So we'll be working with that and how we can alleviate, if not removing, some of those barriers in the coming years with our community health improvement plan. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Doreen Barnes from Humana, who is going to share some habits of happy people with us. Doreen?
Okay, thank you so much for having me this morning. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you on habits of happy people. And as Jennifer said, my name is Doreen Barnes. I am a licensed sales agent at Humana, and this presentation was developed by Humana in consultation with clinical staff. If you have any questions today, please direct them to your health provider. Okay, so next slide. The things that we will talk about today, and before we get started, I just want to go over a few reminders. If you hear anything during today's class that inspires you to make some sort of health or medical change, for example, a change in an eating habit or starting an exercise program, make sure that you talk with your doctor first. If you have a cell phone on, I think that everybody's on mute, but if you do have a cell phone on, if you'd like to put it on mute today or turn it off, that would be great. And if you do need to take a call, again, this is kind of silly because we're all working virtually and remotely, but please take that call outside away from the presentation. And of course, you can talk if you'd like, but just try to keep your side conversations to a minimum. And again, just remember this class is a safe zone. So feel safe to ask questions, because if you're thinking of something, go ahead and ask it, because chances are somebody else is thinking that same type of question. Okay, we could go ahead and move on. And again, remember, this is for educational purposes only, and it is not designed as medical advice or to diagnose or treatment. And again, consult your healthcare provider if you have any of those questions or concerns. During today's class, we're going to talk about being happy. Sounds fun, right? Happiness is something that we all could use a little bit more of, especially today with COVID. We'll start by looking at some myths and truths about happiness. People sometimes make assumptions about happiness that are incorrect, so we'll try to clear some of that and sort the facts from fiction. We'll also learn about happiness and how it relies on balance, and aligning your body, your mind, your spirit may help you achieve true happiness and contentment in life. And next, we will discuss 7 habits that can lead you to happiness. Doing your best to follow these habits each day may boost your mood and help you to feel more balanced. And we'll also end the class by taking some time to explore what makes you happy. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so let's start today's class by addressing some of the myths and truths associated with happiness. Can you guess whether each of these statements on the screen is a fact or a myth? Happiness is something you are born with. Is that a fact or a myth?
I'm checking the chat box, Doreen, to see if people are answering.
Yes, you can put that in. Happiness, it's a myth. Some people believe happiness is predetermined at birth. You either have it or you don't, but it doesn't entirely relate to that. That's not entirely true. According to a study published by Psychology Science, evidence suggests that 50% of your happiness is at a set point, meaning it's preset by genetics and environment, but the other 50% is within our power. So anyone can be happier with commitment and effort. So just making that mindset to be happier than what you think that you are destined to be. And then the next one, older adults are less likely to be happy. Is that a fact or a myth? If you're thinking it's a fact, that's actually a myth. That is correct. Emily, it is a myth. Older adults are actually more likely to pay attention to what makes them happy now. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest running studies on happiness, has followed 724 men since they were teenagers in 1938. Researchers found that as the subjects got older, they tended to focus more on what's important to them and didn't sweat the small stuff. You know the saying, you're in the book, don't sweat the small stuff. And it's all small stuff, right? As much as they did when they were younger. In other words, older adults tend to realize life is short and it's important to do what makes you happy. I think we could all take a page out of that playbook. And then the next one, there's a strong link between happiness and close relationships. Who can guess if that's a fact or a myth? That, my friends, yes, Jennifer, is a fact. Happiness, the Harvard study, again, of the adult development has found that a clear association between happiness and close relationships, like with your spouse and your family and friends, truly does exist. And connecting with others provides mental and emotional stimulation, making it an automatic mood booster, whereas isolation, on the other hand, is a mood buster. And I think we can all relate to that, especially today because of COVID. You know, people are really isolating themselves, and, you know, that's one of the Humana's bold goal is to help tackle and address the loneliness and social isolation, and we're finding it even more prevalent during this COVID crisis. So it's important to reach out and stay in touch with people. Okay, so if you have any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. Excuse me, I do apologize. I'm losing my voice. I'll try to get through this without coughing too much, but we'll go ahead and advance to the next slide. So what is happiness? Happiness is often used to describe a range of positive emotions, including joy, pride, contentment, and gratitude. And finding happiness may involve nurturing your body, your mind, and your spirit. You know, your body, of course, refers to your physical health and how you care for your body. This might be simply following a healthy diet. And I love that Healthy St. Lucie is promoting eating fresh fruits and vegetables every day. And taking fitness classes and getting routine checkups. The mind refers to the mental health and how you nourish your brain. You know, what are you feeding your brain with? Are you feeding it with, Facebook and things that are out on social media? Are you, really delving into something healthy that you can read and is factual? Doing crossword puzzles, for example, is a great way. Talking with friends on phones or as much as you can in person at a safe social distance today is so much better, I believe, than being on Facebook all the time, because even though that's a social connection, I find that it's also a very social disconnection. Then your spirit, that refers to your spiritual health and how you feel, how you feed your soul. You might do this by regularly attending a house of worship or volunteering to help other people. I find when I help other people, I feel fabulous about myself, and I focus less on what's not good in my life. And because, they say if you could trade situations with other people, you would keep your own most of the time. Okay, so we'll go ahead to the next screen. There are 7 habits of happy people, and we're going to discuss those in today's webinar. First, we'll look at how important it is to take care of your body by doing things, again, like eating well and exercising. Then we'll talk about some ways to relax your mind so that you feel your best. We'll also talk about things that can ignite your spirit and give you meaning and purpose. And then from there, we'll discuss ways that you can help or that you can keep things in perspective and focus more on the things that matter. And then we'll explore the power of staying connected and supported by others, as well as creating the ideal social network. Having something to look forward to does wonders for boosting mood. And, sometimes, and so we'll also talk about setting positive and realistic goals for yourself. And lastly, we'll talk about why it's helpful to view life situations optimistically, but realistically. Okay, so if you'd like to advance to the next slide, take care of your body. It's important to keep your body feeling its very best. Consider some of these helpful tips. Stay active. Aim for at least 30 minutes of exercise per day. And I love this billion step program that you can all get involved in. And then again, eat healthy. Eat a healthy diet. Follow a diet that's low in fat with lots of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. And then get plenty of sleep. Sleep is a direct correlation to the way our moods are. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're probably waking up grumpy and everything just seems out of focus. So aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep if possible. And that's a whole other webinar we can have another day, the habits of healthy sleep and the focus of getting the right amount of sleep. And then, again, focus on prevention. Being in control of your health helps you feel more empowered. When you're bogged down with ailments and aches and pains and different things, if you're not getting those checked out and focusing on them, we can really manifest them into this huge monster that is just occupying good brain space. Okay, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to keep moving right along here. Learn to relax your mind. Habit number 2 is to learn to relax your mind. Stress can have a powerful impact on your mental health. In fact, according to the National Institute of Mental Health, it can lead to anxiety and depression, along with many other health problems. Managing stress isn't always easy. It can be very challenging, but there are some strategies that may help. First, you can choose how to spend your time and energy. It's probably impossible for you to do everything that needs to get done. But that's, you have your list and you look at the list at the end of the day and you realize, oh, I didn't get most of it done, and that's okay. try to prioritize the things on your to-do list that must get done first. Make those the important ones. And then don't really waste your time on worrying about the things that you didn't get to. They most likely can wait until tomorrow. And next, remember to laugh. Laughter is the best medicine. Best pill you can take is to have a good laugh session with a friend or a family member. And according to the Mayo Clinic, laughter and humor help people cope with stress because it causes your brain to release those feel-good chemicals called endorphins, and it relaxes your muscles. So do things, again, that make you laugh often. Watching a funny movie or television show is great. And then lastly, daily relaxation techniques are a quick way to help decrease stress. Take deep breathing, imagery, meditation, things that you can do just simply where you're sitting. Just close your eyes and relax your mind. And then, of course, imagery involves imagining sights and sounds and smells, things that taste and feel good to you that bring back those happy memories maybe from childhood. And then meditate. Use intense concentration or reflection to relax the body and mind, to calm yourself. It might include reciting a positive mantra like I feel at peace, or I can do this, I am everything I need to be. So just find a positive mantra and focus on that when you're feeling not so happy. All righty, moving right along to the next screen. Let's talk about what is ignite. I'm so sorry, I just totally lost my focus here. Ignite your spirit. What is spirituality? In general, spirituality involves the sense of connection to something bigger than ourselves. For some, it may be associated with a religion or a place of worship. For others, it could be the art of nature, being out in nature. And why does spirituality appear to have such a strong bearing on happiness? Well, first, it may provide a meaning and purpose. It may offer guidelines for moral behavior. It gives people a sense of where they're going and what is important in life. Its belief in the afterlife may give people hope and make them feel less alone in this world. It may also help some people cope with adverse situations, and prayer may help relieve stress. And it may bring some people much needed social interaction and support. People may be happier when they are around others who are supportive, like those in their religious communities or their volunteer groups. To practice spirituality, reconnect with with what you find meaningful in life, and spend time identifying your beliefs and your values. Consider finding a spiritual community for that sense of belonging and support. If that, again, is where you find spirituality. And again, it could just simply mean whatever it is, your higher power, so to speak, what motivates you to stay focused and positive. All righty, moving on to the next screen. Let's focus on the big picture. Whoops, can you go back one?
I'm sorry, yeah, it went twice. There we go. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Very good. And again, focus on the big picture. I know myself personally, I tend to get bogged down in the details. I need give me all the little bits and pieces and I can function better. But when I step back and say, oh, wait a minute, how does this really play into the big picture? I find that I'm more balanced and focused. So again, habit number 4 is, again, focusing on that big picture. Try to keep things in perspective. This means looking at the whole picture and seeing things in the proper relationship or the proper proportion to everything else. Try not to waste energy worrying. I know that's sometimes easier said than done. I always tell my children that's something I'm really good at, is worrying. But it can bog the mind down and it can zap that happy, positive energy. Many things that we are worrying about in this moment don't really matter at all, from even a week from now or an hour from now, let alone a year down the road. So remember, things rarely happen the way that we think that they're going to. So learn how to just roll with the punches, as they say. And then the next thing is keeping an attitude of gratitude. To me, that goes a long, long way. Is, are you grateful? Are you grateful, and do you express that in the way that you greet people and talk to people? It's so easy to look at the negatives and not be grateful for what that opportunity presents. If anybody would like to take a quick moment and in the chat write in there something that you're grateful for today, that would be awesome. Share with everybody one thing that made you feel kind of happy about being up this morning and grateful. And I'll start it by telling you what makes me happy every morning. So just waking up and seeing that beautiful sunrise, and I try to also make sure in the evening time I take a few minutes to appreciate the sunset as it closes down on the day. And then again, helping other people can also be beneficial. Volunteering can make you feel useful and keep you mentally and physically and social active. And in fact, a 2016 study published by BJM Open found that volunteering in middle and older age is linked to good mental health and emotional well-being. Very good. Feeling optimistic and for having a job right now? Absolutely, Sherry, and because so many people don't have a job right now. If you turn on the news, that's a fact. So that's awesome that we're grateful for that. Okay, so let's talk about staying supported and connected and how that plays a role. So habit number 5 is to stay supported and connected. Happy people tend to have rich and satisfying social connections. According to the Mayo Clinic, research has shown that a network of supportive relationships contributes to psychological well-being. And this may be because being social helps us. It provides a sense of belonging and wards off loneliness. It increases our self-worth. It also offers feelings of safety and security. In addition to helping with happiness, social relationships may keep you healthy. According to the National Institute on Aging, social relationships are consistently linked with positive biomarkers of health. Now, keep in mind that negativity is contagious, probably more so than happiness. Surround yourself with people that make you feel good about life and always try to do the same for others. If you have people in your life that are bringing you down, try some of these things. Don't share everything with negative people. If they repeatedly shoot down your ideas, keep them to yourself. And that goes with family members and whatnot. But again, try to share little with the people that you find to be negatives, and then give them a compliment. You're finding them being negative. I know I was in the grocery store the other day, and the cashier was just really kind of nasty. And I looked, she had this beautiful ring on. So I said, "Oh, that's a beautiful ring." And then she had a great big smile on her face after that. And so we got through the checkout process just fine. Give them a compliment. That breaks their cycle of negativity. And then stop complaining yourself. I find that sometimes I'll catch myself complaining, and then, that doesn't help the situation. So negativity feeds on negativity, just as happiness feeds on happiness. So spread the love, spread the happiness whenever you can. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So habit number 6 is setting goals. It's important to set goals that you can look forward to. I think if you've all ever been on a diet for a wedding or this, you have that goal. So you're going to the gym and so you're really focused on losing those 5 pounds, 10 pounds for that purpose. That's true in life as well for being happiness. Create goals that you can look forward to. Don't spend too much time thinking about what you don't want. Instead, focus on the positive outcomes that you do want from those goals. Next, make goals that are realistic for you. Some things can't be changed, and dwelling on them, it's really not going to make you any happier, and it's not going to change them, except the things that you cannot change, and create reasonable goals to change the things that you can. I think we all know the mantra to that saying. Lastly, your goals should address roadblocks. Be proactive, not reactive. That means that you should have a plan in place for how you'll handle potential roadblocks successfully. For example, that dieting, if you know that you have a weakness for donuts, well, then try to steer away from Jupiter Donuts or Dunkin' Donuts and just focus on knowing that you can do this. And that's just a broad example of trying to avoid those roadblocks. Have that game plan in mind so that you set yourself up for being happy. So that was number 6. So we're approaching number 7. So habit number 7 is to be optimistic but realistic. Everybody falls on hard times, but how you respond to those situations has a big impact on your health and your happiness. It's so important to recognize that pessimism does have its benefits. For example, it can come in handy when assessing risks, solving problems, and managing your health. However, research has indicated that optimism is better for overall health and happiness. In fact, in 2012, a review published in the Aging Health found that older adults with an optimistic outlook were more likely to have good health and live a longer life than their pessimistic peers. So are you seeing that glass half full or half empty? It isn't entirely clear why optimists experience healthier benefits. Again, according to the Mayo Clinic, it may be because a positive outlook allows you to cope better with stressful situations, which reduces the harmful effects of stress on the body. Optimists may also live healthier lifestyles by exercising more and, again, eating a healthier diet. So some tips for staying optimistic. You can start by practicing positive thinking. Positive thinking means that you're making a conscious choice to believe that the best outcome will happen and not the worst. It doesn't mean you're ignoring the possibility of negative outcomes. You're just choosing to trust that the positive one is the one that's going to happen. It's important to be realistic as well. Some optimists are unrealistic, denying that bad things can or ever will happen. And this is equally as unhealthy. So instead, try to appreciate the positive parts of the situation without denying the negative parts of it. And resiliency. Stay resilient. It's a key characteristic of optimistic people. Resiliency, oh my goodness, I haven't had enough caffeine, or maybe I've had too much today. Basically describes your ability to cope with the bounce back from hard situations. We're all going to face hard situations. How do we deal with those? Luckily, it is a learned skill, so everyone can take steps to learn how to be more resilient. Gratitude piece. I'm sorry, I'm kind of reading through the chat as before I'm advancing to my next slide. Okay. Find what makes you happy, good people. Now that we've covered the 7 habits of happiness, it's time for you to spend some time thinking about what makes you happy. I am grateful for caffeine too.
Yes.
Reading the chat, my eyes split over there. So if you want to just take a moment to write down a list of like 10 things that make you happy. If 10 is too many, just write down 2 things right now. Think of the 2 things that pop in your mind that make you happy. And then you can grow that list. They can be big or they can be little. Maybe it's taking a trip or visiting with if you have grandchildren or children, nieces or nephews, visiting with them. Spending time with your furry family, that always makes me happy. As you can see, this man in this picture having his grandchild, I'm going to assume, and his dog has put a big smile on his face. Okay, so moving right along, that is really it. I guess my advice would be get out there and put your 7 habits into practice so that you can love life to its fullest. Family, do cup of coffee. Yes,
Dog.
avoid
That was
drama.
supposed to be dog.
That was supposed to be, oh, okay. Family dog's cup of coffee. Yes. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yes, my son in my home makes me happy. I agree with all of that. And being able to share with you today, well, that made me happy. Got my day off to a great start, being able to talk about habits of happy people. That's going to keep me focused as I push through. As everybody is aware, Humana is in their annual election period, so it's an extremely busy time for each of us as agents. So this was a great diversion for me to be able to start my morning off with a smile, and now I don't think it'll go away. So, but thank you so much for that opportunity today.
Thank you so much, Doreen. I think, some of these things that you go over, they sound so simple, and I think a lot of us probably know some of the content shared today, and we've heard it before, but I think as you go through life and your weeks and your months and your days, and there's new challenges, you don't think about some of those things, and you have to remind yourself to step back and try some of these techniques. I mean, you definitely can't be happy all day long, and sometimes you have to be really mindful about what you're picking to choose to do and put into your brain and think about. I love the part about negative people and making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people that support you, and what you're trying to achieve, and that can bring some optimism and energy your way. So
Right.
it's hard sometimes to do all of that. I know with even COVID too, my sleeping patterns have been a lot different just during that time. So I've really had to push, like, stop watching TV, focus, try to get ready for bed so you have a good night's sleep, things like that. So I think all of these tips are really good, just ways to keep thinking about how to do that. And I do know that, like I said, long term too, when I was looking at some of the research this week about, obviously you're not happy every day, but the trajectory of your happiness and that with the health benefits and being able to kind of ward off some of the pieces and make better choices. So the more you can practice this and focus on those things that do make you happy and bring joy, the better off your health is and your choices are.
Yeah.
So, but it's work.
Right.
It's hard work sometimes.
It is, and the reality is, I tend to focus on surrounding myself with positivity and eliminating negativity. I actually had to end a relationship with a friend who, anytime I shared something with her, she just always brought me down and said, "Oh no, that's terrible." So it was just such a negative cloud over my head. I'm thinking, why am I working so hard on this friendship when it's just really bringing me down? And so sometimes you have to push people out to bring good things in. So, and that's always a tough choice. And then just reminding not to get caught up in those details of the things that, oh, I have to get it all done. No, there's priorities that have to happen and the rest can wait. So, but yeah. And then eating healthy and exercising is hugely important. I know it's really tough. I'm battling that time balancing act right now with AEP and getting up early and being out and getting in late, but trying to carve out that time for yourself is important. It doesn't make you a selfish person. It makes you a happier person and a healthier person. And that's it. I'm going to stop talking. And again, thank you so much.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we are working on a photo challenge right now with our employees here at the health department and getting them to submit photos of things that bring joy or they're grateful for right now. And it's been interesting getting some of the entries in, and some of the people that are kind of focusing inward during the COVID times right now on some of their talents and music and different hobbies that maybe they left behind, but they're using that as kind of like a coping mechanism right now and turning inward and going back to some of those hobbies and things that they loved to do before, and they're getting joy from that, which was interesting. That things you might not know about people, but they're sharing right now, which was really exciting. So anybody else have anything to share or some comments or questions or anything about the topic today? You can chat box or you can unmute yourself and talk about it. Feel free to bring anything up, anything interesting you've seen around you or you've been exploring in terms of happiness and working on eliminating some of those negativity pieces. Anybody? Well, as you're thinking that, maybe trying to still unmute yourself. I still have hope. We do have some references here on the page if you wanted to screenshot this or look at them from the recordings today. We've got another page, I believe. I hear practicing meditation and positive affirmations. Yes, I love that one too. I've actually been using Headspace, and I know some people might criticize that. How are you using an app for meditation? But I've found it to be very helpful, just to kind of guide me through some of that meditation. And then most recently, I've been trying out some Tibetan tonal meditation, which has been interesting too. But I find like carving that time out for myself to kind of refocus in. Oh, and Sherry says she uses YouTube. Okay. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, I think just carving that time out to be able to think about what I really want and what I'm looking for, and to kind of, it does calm and help me. I know, like Doreen was saying, with all those things that you have to do on your to-do list, it's not even just at work, but it's home too, and things you're trying to get done. It's you do have that anxiety about, like, I'm not going to be able to get it all done. And I think once you accept, no, I'm not going to be able to get it all done, but finding some peace in that, that's been great to be able to kind of just, like you said, Doreen, prioritize those top 3-4 things you really need to get done that day, and don't sweat the other pieces. There's tomorrow. So, so before we get there, I wanted to stop the call today. I did want to let you know that we do have another webinar coming up. The name of that webinar is Caregiver Survival Tips. So I know a lot of us are, some in that sandwich generation out there sometimes, where we're taking care of loved ones, whether they're in our home or we're taking care of them outside, or we're taking care of kids too. We're caregiving that way. So there's some webinar focused on survival tips and how to take care of yourself through all of that, coming up on November 5th by Humana. We'd love to have you join us for that, and share these webinars with friends, family, coworkers. They're short, as you can see today. They're brief, but they've got great content in there and great reminders of some tips and things we can, very practical tips that we can start implementing right after the call, which is great. So the registration, obviously, there's none required, and it's the same webinar link and phone number each call, so that's great. And then you can see the remaining webinars that we have for the rest of the year as well. If you want to join us in our community health improvement planning processes, we'd love to have you on board. My email address is on here right now. Or if you want to be notified of future trainings and be put on our distribution list, we would love to have you be put on there. So just send us your email address, or you can get in contact with me directly there. I see one more thing on here, or 2 more things. Jennifer is grateful for an amazing boss. That does make all the difference sometimes at work, and as stressful as work can be, if you don't have a good boss, that can be draining. So that's great. And then we also see random acts of kindness and happiness from Emily. You never know what others are going through, and that little touch of happiness can change their entire day. We've definitely seen that at the health department with some of the staff that do that, including Emily. Little messages on our doors, which is so sweet. So I think that does change the trajectory of your day sometimes when you see that. So love that, Emily. So anybody else have anything else before we end the call? No? All right. Well, Doreen, thank you again for Humana and your support for the Billion Step Challenge, and support of this webinar series we've been able to bring the community in St. Lucie County. We're so excited about that. And we look forward to the next webinar coming up on November 5th, Caregiver Survival Tips. So hope you all have a great rest of your week.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Jennifer. Everybody have a fabulous day.